Hi, it's Paul Hill from itflea.com, and in this lesson, I'm going to be showing you how you can use Windows PowerShell to create user accounts in Active Directory. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that you need to be logged into a domain controller or on a computer that has RSAT installed. RSAT is a Windows feature set and can be easily installed if you don't have it. However, if you log directly into a domain controller, all of your prerequisites will be met. So I'm on my domain controller right now, so all I need to do is on Windows Server, click Tools. We're going to go down until we see the PowerShell ISE. No reason to click the x86. We're going to use the 64-bit version, which is the default. So Windows PowerShell ISE. I'll click on this. And this is a screen that we see. The first thing we need to do is click this script dropdown. Now here, this works a bit like command prompt. So you can type in commands like ipconfig and stuff like that. But if you want to write a script that you can save, you want to click this drop down, and now we can write a series of commands and save them and execute them and edit it and so forth. So the first thing we need to do is learn how to write a comment. The way you do that is by hitting the Shift and the number 3. Now, the reason for comments is to help you understand code, and it's going to be very helpful when you come back 3 months from now and you need to make a change to the code you're writing. Always use comments and always explain what you're trying to do. The first thing that we're going to try and do is store the user's first name into a variable. So we're going to type that in, store user's first name into variable. Okay, so we've just written a line of code that will not be executed, but it's information for us, the people who are viewing the code, so that we can understand what our goal is. Now, to create a variable, we hold the Shift and then press the 4 key. This puts a $sign out, okay? And then we're going to type in the name of the variable. We're going to call this first name. So we now have a variable and we need to set it to some type of value. And we could just type in equals and then in quotation marks we could say Mark, or we could say, John, whatever we want. Or better than that, we could get the user's input. So we could prompt the user at this point and say, what's your first name? They can type it in and then it will be stored in the variable. So let's do that. The way we can do that is with the read-host command. So if we type in read-host and we have first name, what's going to happen is the user is going to be asked to put in some kind of input, and they're going to hopefully type in their first name. But it's not going to be very apparent because there's no prompt telling them what to do. We can add a prompt by hitting space and then pressing the dash to add an argument. And we can see there the first option is prompt. So if we hit space and then in quotation marks, we need to type in some kind of prompt. So we're going to say, please enter your first name, and then in quotation marks. Now let's see what happens when we run this script. I'm going to hit play. And we can see here, this is the line of code that we're executing. This will be the whole script. And what we see is please enter your first name. So if we type in my first name, which is Paul, press enter, the script ends and nothing happens because we're not doing anything after that. We're just grabbing the input and storing it into this variable, and then that's it. So let's do something with that information. The goal of this line is to output the user's information. Okay, so we're going to put that in comments. So that is our goal. And the way we're going to do that is with the echo command. We're going to say echo, and then we're going to output some kind of line. And what I'm going to type in is your first name is, and then we're going to enter the variable. Your first name is blank. And what this first name variable is going to fill in the blank because we're reading the line up here. So I'm going to hit the play button and it says, please enter your first name. So we're typing in Paul. So now we're at this line right here in the code. Once I press enter, Paul will be stored into first name. And then on the next line, it's going to echo whatever was stored in this first name. So it says, please enter your first name. And now it says, your first name is Paul. And I don't know why I didn't put a space there. Let me fix that. Now we can use this variable over and over and over again. So if we want to continue on with this, we could type in first name is a very cool guy. First name is a bit strange. Okay, just having some fun just to help you understand it. So if we hit play again, we can say, please enter your first name. So I'm going to type in Paul. And now we can see at the bottom of this input, it says your first name is Paul. Paul is a very cool guy. Paul is a bit strange. And you can see we can type in any name that we want. So if I type in James, it now says your first name is James. James is a very cool guy. James is a bit strange. You could type in Mark, anything you want. Since it's being stored in this variable first name, anytime we use that first name, it's going to pull up what was put into the read host command and stored in the variable. All right. Now that you understand how to take the first name, how do you think we would take in the last name and potentially a password if we wanted to create a password for a user? It'd be the exact same way. We need to create a variable and we'll call it last name. And it'll be the exact same pattern. So read host, prompt. And the way I'm typing these commands so fast is just by hitting the tab button to do tab completion. So if I type in read dash, and then it auto-populates. I can hit the up and down arrow and select one of these and then press the tab key and it completes it for me. And when I hit space in the dash button again, I have all these options I can choose from. And if I start to type prompt, you can see that it narrows the list down and I just need to press tab. And now I can enter the prompt. So we're going to say, please enter your last name. So let's edit this little string here, this output, and let's update it with the last name that we have now. So we're just going to add the variable last name there. We need to change this to full name since we're now getting the full name. Your full name is first name, last name. Let's see what happens. Hit play. Your first name, Paul. My last name is Hill. So now it says your full name is Paul Hill. Okay, so I think you're understanding how this works now. Now to move on, let's learn about how we can create a user account by using this in Active Directory. The first thing we want to do is collect some type of password. So again, we're going to do the exact same process. And it's going to be read-host, prompt, and we're going to say, please enter your password. All right, and we'll add that into here. Your password is, and then we're going to say password. Okay, cool. Just run this again, make sure we don't have any errors. My name is Paul Hill. Okay, so my password is test, and then password in lowercase and with a 0 and with an exclamation mark, and I'm just going to press enter. Your full name is Paul Hill. Your password is test password exclamation mark.